up guys? Sorry, I'm just having dinner while watching this sushi B-roll. I'm not sure what that means, but apparently it enhances the overall experience while you're dining. I don't know. As far as rolls go, the only thing I understand right now, to be honest, is a California roll. I have a Philadelphia roll, and I have this kitchen roll. I don't even know how I was able to pick it up with my chopsticks. Not bad, Elvin. Not bad. But apparently, this B-roll thing is related to cinematography. So let me just finish this and then we'll actually look into what that means. Всем привет, my name is Elvin. So let's talk about B-roll. Now in cinematography there are two types of footages. You have your A-roll and you have your B-roll. Both of these terms come from the early days of cinematography when two sets of film rolls were used to create a transition. Later on, a second roll was used to add an additional imagery or videos to your main track, your A-roll, which had your audio track on it as well. Now, over the course of years, of course, we went digital, and even though we don't use any more rolls, we still use those terms. And in fact, you most probably heard B-roll way more often than A-roll. And that is because over time, the word A-roll kind of lost its meaning or diluted itself into simply being known as the main footage, which is exactly what A-roll is. A-roll is your main footage of your video, where you're going to be telling your story, your idea, or your well, whatever it is that you want to explain or convey to your audience. B-roll, on the other hand, is any other type of footage, can be optional, that will further allow you to better explain or convey the information to the audience. A good example of this one is, for instance, me sitting here talking to you guys, and this is basically A-roll because it's me talking to you. Most of the time A-roll is someone talking to the camera or, for instance, another character within your movie. Now, I can also, for instance, take my plate of sushi and right in front of you, I can tell you exactly what I think about the sushi, how beautiful it is, how tasty it looks and actually is. And this is A-roll because it's me talking about sushi to you guys. However, we can take it one step further. For instance, I can tell you again the same thing, how beautiful it looks like, how it tastes and how it smells, but at the same time I'm playing a close-up of this sushi. And this allows me to further tell the story or further show what I am talking about, since of course you are further away than I am in front of the sushi. You see, that second part, it just made this whole video feel a little bit better and a little bit more special. This being said, B-roll has a couple of different uses. Let's go quickly through them all. Now, the first use of B-roll is, as I mentioned, to support your A-roll. So for instance, a news broadcast about a forest fires would not be as impactful without showing the actual forest burning. That being said, adding B-roll to your footage can help to evoke emotion from your audience or to better explain something, especially if there is some kind of language barriers, at least visually, the person can actually understand what's going on. Now, the second use of B-roll is to add dynamics to your video. Let's be honest, nowadays with social media, the attention span of people is very short. In YouTube it may be a little bit longer than in TikTok, and then TikTok is longer than Instagram, but the point is that no one has really time to sit there and watch a 10-minute or 20 or 1 hour interview, no matter how helpful it is, while only just staring at the person's face. So adding a little bit of B-roll to support what you're saying can really help to enhance and to make everything more engaging and, let's say, interesting for the audience. Now, the third use of B-roll is to actually use it as duct tape. So if you have ever used a camera to film yourself or someone who is quite shy and does not know how to speak to the camera, you know that when you film your footage, it is very, very messy and imperfect. You have a lot of ands and uhs and ohs and whatever. How many takes you make is insane, right? Now you sit down, you start chopping up your footage to get your correct or the best part of your image or video. Yeah, and you see, I'm not even cutting that out, like whatever. Well, the point is that once you're cutting it up, oftentimes, actually most often than not, you can face with a hard cut. This is a cut that is very, very visually seen. Like you can have cuts here and there, which is no problem, but sometimes you have that one that you cannot just look past it. And it looks kind of unprofessional at the same time. So to solve this, you can just slap on a good old B-roll on top of that thing, and guess what? It covers all the mess, and now you have a more professional video. Now moving on, number 4 on our list is actually more related to short films and Hollywood movies, or Bollywood movies, or any kind of movies basically. You can use B-roll in order to create transitions between your scenes. A good example of this is, let's say, sci-fi movies, right? Before moving from one scene to another, you can have this nice wide establishing shot of the planet, let's say, that your main characters are moving towards in their spacecraft. And that B-roll allows you to visually understand where they are going and where the next scene will happen. So you can use this also to kind of break up your footage if you don't know how to kind of put them all together, and you can try to create some kind of B-roll that you can put in between that will kind of put them all together and glue them together. Again, like duct tape, you just slap it on and it just fixes everything. And finally we have is B-roll can be very entertaining. This has been popularized in YouTube with a lot of talented creators out there, but also with travel blogging. So you can use B-roll to simply show something to the audience, let's say how an item is made, or just something about the item. Or you can show your journey from point A to point B. So there's no talking, there's no explaining, nothing. You just visually see what is happening. So this is like a visual storytelling. Now B-roll is quite a tough nut to crack. It requires a lot of practice, and me creating that little sushi 20-second video was quite challenging, especially in the beginning when trying to figure out how to do this in the best and more cinematic way. Definitely needs a lot of practice. So I encourage you to take your camera, be it a DSLR or a phone, and start practicing. Now, as always, thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Do drop a like. If you're like me trying to figure out photography and filmmaking on your own and you like my content, do consider subscribing. Hit me up in the comment section below. I would love to speak to you, get to know you, and even why don't we study together? Once again, thank you for watching, and I see you in the next one. Пока!